Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Before I go any further, I'll start with my usual shout outs. First one is to Grant, Grant Fraser. I used to work with Grant, still do. We work at the same place, but we're on different shifts. And for a specific reason, he swapped shifts this week, and we were on the same shift. So it was good to see you, mate. It's been great to catch up with you. I didn't realise you watched the videos. I'm glad you like them. So I promised I'd give him a shout out this weekend. So I to you, mate. I really enjoyed that thread that we started last week on Super 8 and VHS. My God, that brought some memories flooding back. Anybody else that's got anything like that that they want to bring up from the past, sort of memories and things like that of cinema, VHS, DVD, Super 8, anything like that, just pop them on, because I love reading stuff like that and getting involved in it. I may actually do an article at some point for the website, possibly even a video on my time running a VHS library in Stapenhall. Jason, you'll remember it very, very well. You were a regular customer of mine, and quite a few others. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But maybe that's for a separate video, just telling you how I basically got the job and what I used to do there and all that sort of thing. So yeah, anybody that's got any threads that they want to suggest on sort of VHS, DVD, cinema memories, anything like that, just throw them in. We love stuff like that. Joe, interesting comment about George Lucas, if a little extreme. I do get where you're coming from with this. I obviously remember seeing Star Wars in 1977 when it first came out at obviously Burton Odeon, and we haven't seen that version since, because shortly after, I think it was a year or two, they brought out the special editions where they introduced certain different scenes. They'd enhanced the special effects with CGI, that kind of thing. And as good an idea as it seemed at the time, I'm totally with you. I want to see the original version as we watched it at the cinema, complete with its original special effects and all the bits and pieces that they took out and all the bits they added in taken out again. Possibly maybe they're saving it for 2027, which will be the 50th anniversary. Every year they seem to bring out a different version, a different set of Star Wars DVDs and Blu-rays. There's one out now. I bought one probably 7-8 years ago, and every year since there's been a different version come out. And I would love to see those originals. The only way you can get them at the moment is by visiting certain sites, which I've not yet found. And what you're looking for is something called the despecialized version, which is exactly what we are looking for. But you have to follow certain links, and I always seem to get lost in them when I try to find them. I will continue, because I would love to get hold of these at some point, but by the time I do get hold of them, it'll probably be 2027, and George Lucas will be announcing that for the 50th anniversary, here's the original version. But we'll see. But I'm totally with you on it. I do want to see those the original cuts again. I really do. The remark about George Lucas was a bit extreme, but I'm totally with you in spirit on that one. Absolutely. So, right. I promised I probably wasn't going to do this again, but I read this week that Little Britain is coming back to BBC iPlayer. And it is back. It is back on BBC iPlayer. But this should be a cause for celebration, because it was one of the funniest, best comedies that I think this country's ever produced. I thought it was superb. Matt Lucas and David Williams were just a superb team. They were magic together. It should be a cause for celebration. But unfortunately it isn't, because guess what? The woke brigade have stuck their interfering beaks in it again. And what's happened is, it is back on iPlayer, but it is back on iPlayer minus certain characters, minus certain scenes, and certain scenes have been cut. So I will say to you what I always say to you: if you've got the original Little Britain DVDs, for God's sake, hold on to them, because that is the only way that you're going to be able to watch these things complete now, by the looks of it. Um, it makes me so angry, and I go into this every single time, and I've said the same thing every time. Um, we're not saying that things like blackface, sort of racist slurs, homophobic remarks, sexist behaviour is acceptable in television or films nowadays. You wouldn't make a program like that nowadays. You wouldn't really be able to. So we're not saying that that kind of behaviour is acceptable nowadays. What we're basically saying is that this is how it was many years ago, and this is what we found funny all those years ago. It just makes me so angry. I just wish these people would leave these things alone. The other one I heard about was they were going into the BBC archives and digging out old episodes, radio episodes. This is how far this goes back, of Dad's Army, and they were making certain cuts in there, chipping away at things. I get tired of going over this, but it just irritates me that these people think they've got the right to tell us what we should find funny and what we shouldn't find funny. We had this in the 1970s. Do you remember Mary Whitehouse and the Festival of Light? Oh my God. The early 70s were an absolute nightmare. There were movies coming out like Straw Dogs, Last Tango in Paris, A Clockwork Orange, The Devils, and they had one hell of a time with the censors and Mary Whitehouse. And this is a very, very similar thing. I mean, why can't you people just leave us alone? Do you know what I mean? Just leave us alone to laugh at what you... I mean, people put... There was a story on... I think it was on Yahoo this week, about Little Britain, and this is what kicked this off. And there were a lot of remarks. Most of the remarks were basically saying, do you know what, get a life, just stop looking at it. If you don't like these things, don't watch them. You know what I mean? Back then we had 4 channels, so you'd only got 4 channels to go through, to change over to. Now you've got like 500 channels to choose from. Why on earth would you watch something that you find offensive? I've seen things in the past, and I've watched stuff and thought, oh dear, don't like that. My first reaction is not to immediately contact the TV station and say, why the hell are you showing this? It's disgraceful. My first reaction is just to change the channel and watch something else. You know what I mean? So please stop telling us what we can and cannot watch, or should and shouldn't be watching, because the whole thing is just getting boring now, and it's also going to the extreme, and this we really don't want. So yeah, just leave us the hell alone, you people. We're not interested in you anymore. We're still going to watch these programs, and we're still going to laugh at them. You know, we're not going to use any of these remarks out in real life, because we know it is not acceptable nowadays. But just leave us to laugh at what we laugh at, for Christ's sakes. Right, that's that rant over. I'm sure I've forgotten. I was going to mention something else, but I can't remember what it is. I've still got my little notes here, look, written down. So that's the wokery rant over with. The other news, on a much lighter note, the BFI announced this week that they are releasing the 1971 Michael Caine movie Get Carter on 4K and Blu-ray in July. This comes as absolutely brilliant news. I'm really fired up about this one. It had a Blu-ray release a few years ago. I never purchased it because a lot of the reviews on Amazon were basically saying that they'd done no restoration work on it whatsoever, and I believe they'd also changed part of the soundtrack, presumably so it's more acceptable for a US market. I don't know, but this one is going to have a whole set of new special features. It's getting a complete restoration. It is going to look absolutely blinding. I can't wait for this. I believe it's released in July, and as soon as it goes up on Amazon for pre-order, I will be hitting that buy it now button without a doubt. Even though I haven't yet got a 4K setup, I am certainly looking forward to getting one. And that's going to be one of the first movies that I do watch on it. So, and must admit, talking about British gangster movies, I've compiled a little list of my top 5 favourite British gangster movies. Now, I've cheated a bit on this because there are actually 8, but a couple of them hold sort of joint position, and I'll start with the 5th. Let's see now. We've got The Business, like that, and that's Danny Dyer, and we've also got Rise of the Foot Soldier. When I was telling people at work that I was going to do a list of the top 5 gangster movies, I reeled off the ones that I thought I was going to include, and a couple of people did actually mention Rise of the Foot Soldier. I'm not sure I'd class it as a gangster movie. I honestly don't know. I mean, they did, so I've included him on it. I did like The Business. I thought Danny Dyer was superb in that. But again, it was a forerunner to Rise of the Foot Soldier. It's a very, very similar story. So those two are at number 5, or that kind of movie is at number 5, because there have been so many of them over the years, mostly to do with the Essex boys. I mean, how many different ways can you tell the same story? But they seem to keep bringing them out. Number 4, I have to say, is a Guy Ritchie double. Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch. Now, I've only seen Snatch once. I remember enjoying it. I've seen Lock, Stock many times, and I think it is just one of the funniest, best British gangster movies ever, with so many quotable lines. I never get bored of watching this. I'm waiting for a decent Blu-ray copy of this to come out, and I will be grabbing that. Number 3 would have to be another joint position, and we've got, first off, The Craze. Second, Legend, the Tom Hardy version of the same story. I remember in 1990 reading that they were making The Craze, and they got Billy Whitelaw. Was it Billy Whitelaw? Sure, it's Billy Whitelaw. Bear with me. Billy Whitelaw. Is it? Yes, playing Violet Cray. And Tom Bell was in there, and I thought, this is going to be good, this is going to be really good. And then they announced that to play the Cray brothers, they got the Kemp brothers from Spandau Ballet, and I thought, oh, really? Singers? Oh, how wrong. I watched it, and they were absolutely superb in it. And obviously Martin Kemp, they're both forged great acting careers. I believe Gary Kemp was in The Bodyguard with Whitney Houston. Martin Kemp has done countless movies, television appearances. I thought he was superb in EastEnders as Steve Owen. If they hadn't have killed him off, I'd have definitely brought him back by now as a character. But yeah, I love The Legend of the Craze. That particular version is superb. Tom Hardy basically took it to another level by playing both roles. It was so cleverly done. You cannot tell. It is brilliant. I've seen that a few times and really enjoyed it. So yeah, joint third position would be Legend and The Craze. Number 2 would be The Long Good Friday. Bob Hoskins as a London crime lord, Helen Mirren as the gangster's mole, not the typical gangster's mole. She's smart, sophisticated. This is just superb. This is what a British gangster film should be, made in 1980 by Handmade Films. I did hear a thing that George Harrison, who owned Handmade Films, acquired The Long Good Friday, and after he'd watched it, he said that if he'd have realised it was so violent and so horrible, he wouldn't have bothered with it. But this has gone down in legend. This is superb. Obviously Bob Hoskins followed that up with Mona Lisa a couple of years later with Michael Caine. So that is superb. And number 1, it couldn't be anything else. Get Carter, Michael Caine. As I've said, this is getting a 4K release in July, and I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what that looks like. I'm tempted to put this on in between to have another look and do a review of it, but I think I'm going to hold on until the Blu-ray comes out and review that instead. But as British gangster movies go, really, I think there are only 2 absolute total classics, and that's these 2, Get Carter and The Long Good Friday. So that's my top 5 British gangster movies. Bin it or keep it. It's another cheap one this week. Captain Marvel. Now, I only got the chance to watch this for the first time last night. I've done it as a bin it or keep it because I didn't think I was going to like it. I really, really didn't. I've been kind of avoiding this one. I watched Captain America a couple of weeks ago, and I'm supposed to be working my way through them in chronological order, and this is the next one. This was made in 2019. And as I say, I really, really didn't think I was going to like it, but I was so surprised. I loved it, loved every second of it. Who's in it? Brie Larson. I feel I should have heard of her, but I can't think of anything else that she's been in, but I will probably know if I read it. You've also got Jude Law in there. You've got Samuel L. Jackson, who's been spectacularly de-aged in this. You've also got Annette Bening, Hollywood legend. It was really, really good. I'm not going to go over the story because you pretty much all know it. If you're into the MCU and Marvel and all that sort of thing, you will know what this is all about. But I enjoyed this way more than I thought I would. So that is a definite keeper. That's not going in the bin. That's a definite keeper. And I'll leave the Marvel ones alone as far as bin it or keep it goes now, because I get the feeling I'm going to be keeping most of them. So we'll have a proper bin it or keep it next week. A movie that I've not seen, that's not part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe or anything like that. Just a normal movie. So we'll see how that goes next week. But yeah, Captain Marvel is an absolute keeper. That's not going in the bin. What else have we got here? Oh, last week's quote. Well done, Chris Hukin. You got it. Marathon Man. I think it would have been a bit before your time, Jace, that one. What a movie. Dustin Hoffman gets involved with some kind of government spy thing. The one scene everybody remembers is the dentist scene. It stars obviously Dustin Hoffman, you've got William Devane, and you've got Laurence Olivier as a Nazi dentist, and it's all based around that. It's based around sort of Nazi hunters, that kind of thing. And he performs a little bit of dentistry on poor old Dustin Hoffman in what is got to be one of the most horrifying scenes I've ever watched in any movie. It is really tough to watch. I watch it now and I still wince. That's I mean, it's something about dentists, isn't it? I think we've all got that one. But yeah, that one was from Marathon Man. And basically Laurence Olivier is asking Dustin Hoffman, is he safe? And Dustin Hoffman doesn't know the answer, which is when the drill comes out. So if he can cope with extreme scenes of dentistry, go for Marathon Man. It's a cracking movie anyway. It really is good. Made in 1976, and it's well worth watching. So this week's quote, again, it's one line, and all I will say is this is a classic movie. I'm not sure whether, I think it might be before Jason's time. Chris might get it. I'm fairly sure Joe will know it. But it's this. The guy is crossing the street and he shouts, "I'm walking here, I'm walking here." You'll know it. I'm sure you'll know it. Drop your answers in the comments or send me a personal message or something, or do what Chris did last week and just put a little meme up there. I know what memes are. So we've done that, we've done that, we've done that. Oh, I'm not only getting into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I'm also now going to reacquaint myself with the world of Kevin Smith. And I'll tell you for why. I actually read one of my old reviews last week for Clerks, and my own review actually made me want to watch it again. Must have been quite a good one. And I thought, I really do need to get back into that, because he's not made a huge amount of films, so it shouldn't take that much getting through. It wakened my interest in this, reading this again. Tough shit. It's basically his autobiography. This is a cracking read. I'm probably about nearly halfway through it. I'll tell you more about that when I've actually read it. And to guide me through the actual movies, I've got this one. Is that upside down? Oh, it's supposed to be like that. The Askew View, the films of Kevin Smith. Now this will take me through all of the movies, the background to them and all this sort of thing. And now, What have I been buying this week? Very quickly, on the subject of Kevin Smith, Dave Lowe, you are going to love this. Check this out. Kevin Smith's Secret Stash. I daren't even try flicking through this, but look at that. This is the ultimate Kevin Smith companion. You've got all sorts in here, and there are bits hanging off pages which I thought, I can't find one now. There's one. You've got things like this, look. You see that? Like a pop-up thing. And you've also got bits of paper hanging up. I can't find one. But it's basically like original notes. This stuff like that, look. Stuck to the page. You can't really see it. But this is just one hell of a volume. I don't know how many pages, it's got like 320, but it is an awesome looking book. Believe me, Dave, you need this in your life. You really do need this. So I grab hold of this. I think it's about £27 on Amazon, but it is worth every single penny. I'm going to be reading that while I'm watching the movies. So as I say, he's not done that many, so it shouldn't take, hopefully, too much getting through. Right, that's it, folks. I'm going to leave it at that. That pretty much covers everything for this week. Hope you're enjoying the weekend. It is absolutely gorgeous out there. Get yourselves out there. Don't just sitting in there watching videos. So have a great weekend, folks, and I will talk to you all again next week. And Guy, there will be a Doctor Who update. I think it's going to be next week. I just finished watching The Web Planet. And I'm afraid it lived up to my expectations. I need to watch the 40-minute documentary that's on the disc, which will maybe give me a better appreciation of it. We shall see. But I will try to do that either today, or if not, it will be next week for sure when I've watched that. So take care, folks. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks for joining me. If you've enjoyed it, just give us a thumbs up and also subscribe. That'd be brilliant. And I will be back again hopefully next weekend. Take care, folks. Bye bye.